Okay, we're going to look at a game from the DPL Season 2 playoffs. This is going to be BTG versus Fierce here on Operation Glass Trouble. We're going to highlight BTG's defense of the C-Store here. C-Store is a very attacker-sided map, so I wanted to highlight a few things that you can do on C-Store. There's a lot of powerful tools that you can play off of. We're going to look at their position, a little bit of their barbed wire usage and whatnot. First of all, we see a barbed wire right here in Arcade, which I think is really cool. This barbed wire stops the attackers from being able to take Office into Shed to get power. It also stops them from getting into Tellers and then splitting through Shed. It's really important that if you do a Tellers push, you also have control of power. Because in this case, what this barb does is it lets Ned play the power box to control the shutters. If the power's off, the shutters button won't work, so they can't actually make it use of this wall charge play. And this wall charge play actually is the same thing that BTG is going to do in the same set. So that's pretty cool. Also, we have 3 barbed wire that are not being used right now. 1, 2, and 3 on Godspeed and Brandwan and Frosty. And at this point, the prod team is going to zoom in on Marbles here and see that they are, in fact, going to wall charge. They do have a wall charge. It's going to be a 3-2 split. And right there at that moment, you can tell from Marbles' body language, something is wrong. He has just sprinted away, and that's because Billboard in the middle of the map here in Tellers has just hit the Tellers switch. And with the Teller switch open, all of these long-range weapons that they've just taken are now going to be able to be put to use. So let's watch what Brandwan and Godspeed do here. They deal a ton of damage, just an absolute ton of damage to the attackers without taking any damage themselves. And Frosty's going to get on the action as well right there. An absolutely monstrous play with that shutters. And by opening up those shutters, they really incentivize Adaxi and Kaiku to commit to their push and at least take Freezer here. So Billboard's going to hit the button and close the shutters in a moment, and at the same time, Adaxi and Kaiku commit to the kill and get Frosty. Now, Frosty kind of got stuck here and couldn't get out of the freezer. That's fine. Adaxi now knows that he needs to get another kill here to stabilize, so he's going to actually position himself to take out Brandwan, which he does. And so in doing so, this is where the round really starts to... It really shows how balanced this team is and how quick the decision-making is. Billboard here commits to something I really like. He knows that there's 2 guys in the freezer, and it's very likely it was a simple 3-2 split. So he's going to actually commit to the freezer to try and take one out. He's going to find Kaiku, who's actually stuck in... He's kicking the door down right now to get out of the building. And Billboard's going to find him and kill him. Now that kill is huge, because if we rewind it for a moment, you can see something really interesting here. On Fierce, they have a full health bar on Kaiku and Adaxi. That's the 2 freezer players. Frosty never got a shot on them. He's tried to run away. And so because there's 2 full health characters in freezer, and there's 3 tag people outside, by keeping those 2 splits, those two halves of the attacker team separated, and by not letting them reintegrate and merge in the storefront, the defending team can really start to play more aggressively. They, by isolating the freezer players here, by taking out Kaiku, and then Ned swinging onto Adaxi here, they're able to ensure that the only remaining players are all going to be tagged players. Now, Ned killing Adaxi here is a really good play, but it does just come down to gunplay there. Ned just found him at the right time in the right spot. It's great that he got the kill for the defenders for sure, but it's still very winnable for the attackers. However, because, like I said, Billboard made the decision to commit 100% to Kaiku, the defenders can now actually play very aggressively, and that's what Ned's going to do here. So Billboard's going to try and get back off site into Freezer here, and at the same time, Ned's going to swing up. So he's going to move up here to play this crossfire. Godspeed has the other angle, so he's totally safe to do that. And he's going to find marbles, and he's going to find stars, and at that point, the round is over. Daya is actually going to save for the rest of this round. So it really shows you how making those quick decisions where if you take out one player, it fundamentally hurts all the other players in an interesting way. That dynamic is really cool to me. It shows you that you can play really aggressively on defense, and you don't just want to play passively. You don't just want to be playing to do damage a little bit by little bit. Sometimes there's moments where you need to push out aggressively, and I think Ned really displays that in this round, so I wanted to highlight that for that reason. But anyway, we're going to look at another round now, so hopefully you learned something from this one. Okay, now we're going to be looking at the next game. This is going to be Slaughterhouse versus Hypa from Week 4. We're going to be focusing on 2 players in this specific round. We're going to be looking at Rain and Josh. Rain and Josh are going to be playing Office and Training. We're going to go right into it with Josh immediately going for some shots through Office doorway. out into the breezeway to get some early hits. That's a very common strategy on defense. Right away, they're going to throw a Molotov as well to stall out a push into office. And that'll let Josh double down on trying to get some hits here. Hypa really quickly reacts to that Molotov and backs out. Or at this point of the game, though, I want to point out one thing that they do, which is they use a late barb. Rain has a barb right here, and is going to use it in the office doorway. So that barb is going to come out right here. Late barbs are really important. They let you get all the benefits of moving around freely, having that movement speed on defense, and then all the benefits of the barbed wire later in the round when you need it. Now at this point I got to mention a couple things. They have a shotgun on attack. It's a secondary shotgun that they stole from round 1, which they won that round. They have a door charge, which they're going to want to use on this door over here. However, they don't know if there's a barbed wire in that door or not. You can use a door charge to clear barbed wire. It's an uncommon strat, but it does get used sometimes. This is a case where they're banking on that. At this point in time, a lot of things are happening. So first of all, we want to look at training. What's the setup here that Rain and Josh are using, and why is it good? It's a very simple anti-flash setup. You have all of the fundamentals. You have a barbed wire inside of a doorway. You have a simple choke point. So you have a barbed wire, a choke point, and then you have some amount of cover to use, whether it's the green door or the walls here, that the players can utilize. Then you have Josh with an Ingmar playing a long angle, and Rain with a tub playing a short angle. Now this kind of setup is your prototypical anti-flash setup, and they play it really well, and they actually end up doing a lot of cool stuff with it. So let's see how this plays out. Right away, we see a direct counter to Josh and Rain, which is Lampshady's flashing his close to get in through this doorway. But at the same time that that's happening, there's this beautiful cone of fire right here into training. And all of those bullets are looking for anyone who might be playing anti-flash. And they actually managed to find Rain here. If you look at Rain's HP, he's now lost about 60 of his health points. That's really important because at this point, Rain is going to back out into kitchen. And they're going to, at the same time that Rain is backing out, Josh is going to find a kill on Lampshady. This is the key to anti-flash. When one player is leaving, the other player is moving in. Whether that's shooting bullets to cover, or it's moving in with a shotgun or something. Always you're playing opposite of each other. So, if one player is moving back, the other guy's pushing up, right? At this moment in time, Rain and Rezi are in a conversation with their team where they're debating if Rezi should be the one to move in with the auto shotgun. They're actually going to decide to send Rain back and hold Rezi on site. And that ends up being the right call, so let's see how that plays out. Josh is holding long. He's buying just enough time for Rain to move up. At this point, Inked finds this beautiful wallbang right here. It's very hard to draw this one. It's a little bit precise. He finds it right into that doorway. And Josh is going to get a little bit hit. He's going to be safe and back off of it. Now, while he's backing up, the same principle applies. Now, Josh is the one backing up. Watch what Rain does. Rain moves up to cover. This phenomenal sort of communication and this coordination involved in anti-flash is the key to success on defense. You don't need to be the most talkative player to be useful in anti-flash. Just always react to what your teammate is doing and you'll be fine. Now Zombie is going to actually push up here and Rain will get the trade. Now you'll notice that Josh is actually reloading right now. His gun is pointed in a different direction than his aim, so it's easier to tell that way. At this point he's reloading and Rain is simply buying time for him. And that's all your job is sometimes. Rain's going to die to Xylo. Xylo will find the trade on Rain. But that's more than enough because already, and like this round moves really fast. There's a lot to cover every second. The moment Rain is dead, Josh has finished reloading, and now look at this lineup he has. Now he is using an Ingmar, and the Ingmar is a thick penetration weapon. Players count as thick walls right now in the game, and that Ingmar is about to do a ton of damage. Watch those health bars. Look at that. I'll rewind just for you. Look at their health bars as this push happens. Absolute slaughterhouse. True to their name, they've made training into a meat grinder on Hypa here. Now, they don't have any flashbangs left, but they still have 3 players. It's still a 3v4. At this point, I would say the round is pretty much won. Josh and Rain effectively just 2v5'd Hypa. With 2 of Hypa dead and it being a 4v3 at this point, it's quite easy for Slaughterhouse to win. However, Xylo is actually going to push up close. At this point, something else happens. I gotta mention it. Josh is also carrying the Super Shorty. The super shorty, super shotgun, is the secondary shotgun that enables what I would call flexible play. By picking up the super shotgun, you allow yourself to play close range and whatever else you're playing, so usually long range. It perfectly complements the Ingmar because with the super shotgun, Josh is able to find the kill on Birdie and out DPS that AP25. Now you'll notice his health is low, but that health buffer is just enough to get that kill onto Birdie and buying him just the amount of time to cause disruption where he'll get one more hit in, and you can now see the health bars are really low on Inked and Xylo. Look at the end result here. With Rain dead and Josh dead, and only them dead, look at all the damage they've dealt to Hypa. And this is not on a mistake. This is not a mistake by Hypa. Hypa does a lot of this round right. They make a few mistakes and a couple of gambles, just like every team does in every round. This is not a commentary on Hypa's mistakes here. This is really just Josh and Rain owning it. And it wasn't just pure aim skill. A lot of that was involved, but a lot of it was in their positioning and in their coordination. Defense is mostly about the latter. And at this point in the round, I mean, it's a 3v1. Rezi finds this beautiful wallbang right here onto Xylo, who was 1 HP. Any single pellet from the shotgun would have killed him at that point. And Inked is stuck doing what he was already doing, which is watching the flank. Now, I'll let it play out, but really that's all I wanted to say. There's not a whole lot left to defense. Defense is a pretty complicated task, but if you're playing anti-flash efficiently, and you're doing what Rain and Josh just did here, then you will be rewarded. It will work out for you. And I do want to point out, last thing, is that Mackie does manage to steal the door charge and clacker, and if you haven't seen the next round in this set, I highly recommend going back and watching it. It was week 4, and watching the next round, because it is a lot of fun to watch as well. He will put that door charge to good use. So, anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned some things about defense. I wanted to do 2 short videos. We'll do a more in-depth analysis of some other rounds later on. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great one.